with our customers, but also in the banking industry. We invite you to share in our future. Our future starts now with you.
Live from digital address GA0993341. This is Joy News at 6 with me, Bernice Abubeidulansa. This bulletin is on Joy 99.7 and hits 103.9 FM in Accra, on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions and around the world at myjoyonline.com. Coming up, coalition of NGOs in water and sanitation questions government's claim of achieving 85% of its target at making Accra the cleanest city in Africa. We've got details as they challenge the sanitation minister to provide evidence of the claim, and governing MPP takes credit for the huge reduction in numbers recorded at border towns during the just ended mass voter registration exercise.
Can you believe that we have to even bring people from Togo to stand at the borders to identify Togolese who want to enter to come and register?
We'll hear more from the governing MPP, plus a CDD report that says incidents of violence could repeat in the December polls if not nipped in the bud.
Categories of cases we are recording are more falling on the dangerous aspect of it that results in damage to properties and deaths.
Later in business,
official liquidator for DKM Diamond Microfinance begins payment of remaining validated claims. We've got details on the Joy Business Report in 15 minutes.
And later in this package, we've got tips for you on how to stay safe on the road. That's coming up in Arrival Live. Thanks for your company. The details now. The coalition of NGOs in water and sanitation, CONIWAS, is questioning government's claim of achieving 85% of its target at making Accra the cleanest city in Africa. Sanitation Minister Cecilia Dapa indicated Tuesday that the gains made during the 3-week lockdown of the Greater Accra region have been eroded by poor behavioral practices.
I will give it 85% because at the end of the day, you all saw the 100% we did during the lockdown. So who makes Accra dirty? Us. That's why we are every day sensitizing people.
So you say you are 85% fulfilled? I'm
telling you, I know you will quote it.
But programs coordinator for CONIWAS, Ata Ahin, is asking the sanitation minister to provide data to back her claims.
When I first heard the minister, I thought that she was pushed to make this statement, and she made it jokingly. But if we are to go by the 85%, I would say that there has been no systematic assessment done to confirm this 85%. I don't know the set of indicators that the minister or the ministry used in arriving at this. But as far as I'm concerned, there has not been any strategic plan developed. There's not been a program of action. We do not know the roadmap. And so we don't even have the indicators to be able to measure.
You have the programs coordinator for CONIWAS, Ata Ahin. This is your election headquarters, and to some election-related stories now. The governing MPP says it had to deploy men to border towns to identify foreigners coming into the country to register. They say this contributed to the huge reduction in numbers recorded at those areas. The party alleges that the NDC often encourages foreigners at the border towns to register, citing Buim, Kittu South and Boku Central as places where the numbers have reduced compared to the 2016 voters register. General Secretary of the NPP made these revelations on Majority Caucus on the Joy News channel. Listen.
And at the polling station that we were, 60% of those who sell at the polling station are Togolese. And they were insisting to register. Our agents kicked against it. Can you believe that we have to even bring people from Togo to stand at the borders to identify Togolese who want to enter to come and register? And for some of these Togolese, they think that it is normal. I've been voting here all the time. I set healthcare system here. My children go to free SHS here. Why are you now preventing me from voting or registering?
You heard there the MPP's General Secretary, John Bwedu. Let's stay on election-related matters. The Ghana Center for Democratic Development, CDD, is expressing worry about violence that characterized the just-ended voter registration exercise, describing it as having the potential of derailing the country's democratic gains. Ahead of the 2020 general election, CDD is warning if those violent acts, such as shootings, stabbings, and burning of property are not nipped in the bud, the country could witness more deaths and vandalism of state and political party-owned property, as happened in some constituencies. Head of Security and Governance at CDD, Nana Kwabena Abrampa, said this at a roundtable discussion on measures needed to ensure a violent-free electoral and political environment through the enforcement of existing laws.
We see out of the 20 major cases had 14, about 70% of the cases are major. This is the trend that we see as dangerous because comparing to 2012-2016, we had more cases, but most of the cases were at the minor areas. That did not result into death, that did not result into injuries, property burns, and other things. But this one have recorded major cases. So you see 14 of them, 7% were major incidents, 2 deaths, several injuries, and properties burned and destroyed.
You heard then Nana Kwabena Abrampa. He is head of security and governance at CDD. Meanwhile, security analyst Colonel Festus Aboagye is worried about growing insecurity ahead of the elections.
My personal view is that I'm not hopeful. Now, if 7 December was going to be incident-free, we should have used the registration process as rehearsals. But the registration process shows that we're prepared and willing, without any inhibition, to resort to violence, different forms, to achieve, parochial political objectives.
Colonel Festus Aboagye is a security analyst. Away from election-related stories, the family of the late Marcus Mauli Ajali, the Sogakope South Assemblyman killed by robbers at his home, greet news of his killer's arrest with mixed feelings. His sister, Bless Yaira Ajali, doesn't want to lift her hopes yet until the case is concluded. Prior to taking up all the suspects, the police had earlier arrested one Amos Abakla, who gave up the rest. 5 suspects, including the mastermind, Emmanuel Hedro, are now in the grips of police awaiting trial. At a press conference, Director General of the CID, Isaac Kenny-Yeboah, gave details.
Emmanuel Hedro, 25-old motor rider, he hatched the plan to rob the deceased for money. He informed Richard Adichre to recruit men for the operation, but he did not go to the scene on that day, but he showed the house, the deceased house. He showed them, took one of them to the place to show them the exit points to enable them escape, but he did not go to the scene that day.
COP Isaac Kenny-Yeboah also says the ringleader Richard Adichre was the one who fired the shot.
Richard Adichre alias Offa. He was the leader of the gang. He delivered the second shot to gun down the deceased with a pump-action gun. It will be recalled that during the press briefing, I told you that the deceased was shot twice, and Richard admitted that he shot him the second time.
You heard that the Director General of the CID, Isaac Kenny-Yeboah. Now, the Media Foundation for West Africa says there were nearly 1,000 ethical violations in the media. In its latest media monitoring report, the objective of the project is to identify and highlight incidents of ethical infractions and draw attention to such breaches. It says this is a way of fostering adherence to ethical principles by media organizations. My colleague, Weston Amoa, is here with details of that research.
So, Benes, from the 15th of June to the 30th of June 2020, the Media Foundation for West Africa monitored ethical violations on 26 news organizations made up of 10 Akan language radio stations, 10 newspapers, and 6 news websites. A total of 936 pieces of content from the 26 organizations were monitored and analyzed, out of which 116 ethical violations were recorded. So, Pro NDC Power FM's afternoon political show Inside Politics, hosted by Mugabe Kumasi, and the station's current affairs program, Battleground, hosted by Ohneba Bani, had the highest incidence of ethical violations of 13 and 12 violations, respectively. Pro-NPP